So, welcome to the Dragon's Den podcast. This starts our 8th year here at Dragon's Den, and you guys have been asking for us to do a podcast. I don't know why, but here we are. I'm joking, of course. It's fun to do one. It really is. It's been a great time to kind of do all this whole, sharing where we came from, where we started, what's been going on live at Dragon's Den. It's been a thing I've wanted to do for a long time. I think it's pretty great that we've been doing a long time. I guess to start with the history of like Dragons Den, where we started, I guess 8 years ago on June 11th, we opened for the first time, and it's been a crazy roller coaster of an adventure from there on in. Met 1,000 people. I started off like when I was working at like one of the bigger, wholesale video game places, got left there, decided to open my own store. And we started off of a, let's just call it another game store, falling apart. So we kind of picked up the pieces and ran with it, and we did, our best with it. And it's crazy. I had to learn basically how to start a business, how to get anything doing, how to play all these games, just have a basic understanding of it. And that was wild. I mean, it's something you look back at 8 years and how much the store has changed. We've taken down walls. We've gotten, we went through, like 4 different kinds of play groups for Magic and Warhammer and everybody else. And the store's changed a lot. And, we're looking for a bigger spot now, and that's crazy. One thing I keep getting asked is like, we go to card shows and like the Viewmont Mall, we go through a lot of that and going through these different things we do. And people keep asking us like, oh my God, me and my brother were talking about opening a card store. Me and my friends wanted to do one. What do you recommend? First thing I was joking, I said I don't, but going forward, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of, if you don't have the passion for it, you don't have the drive for it, it's not going to really work. And you got to give it your weekends. You got to give it your everything. You can't just, I do 12 hours here sometimes. I do longer than 12 hours here sometimes. Everybody knows how to do this job better than you. It seems like it's always, well, if I owned the store, this is how I would have done it. And it's like, yeah, but that's how your store would have been. The Dragon's Den is not like every other game store out there. I like to think that our community is a lot better. We do things a little differently here. We don't do table fees. We welcome the build and paint nights. We welcome everybody to come down and, meet a new play group, try something new. I never in a wildest dreams would have thought we got like cosplayers to come in and, sponsor them. And that's been crazy. Hosting our own con in the future, something I would love to do. Our early starts was just keep the store going. I mean, I did it with when I first opened, like $500 worth of stuff on the wall, and surviving the pandemic of 2020 and surviving just everything that could possibly be thrown at us. Going from, 3 tables and, oh God, I hope this works, to, being people recognizing you. And I think that's a lot of fun, to actually having like, some people have even like celebrity status of like, even in the internet is like, wear our stuff. I know a few times a few people like gave us shout outs online. I think that's kind of neat that you get to do that. I'm not the biggest game store in the area, but I would like to think myself one of the better game stores in the area. What can you do differently than everybody else is doing has kind of been my drive. What can we do that not everybody else is doing? One thing is like I said before, getting the cosplayers to come in was fantastic. Carrying different lines that nobody else can carry. It's easy to copy. It's not easy to pull off a Dragon's Den. It's something that the community is what made us. I mean, I just steer the ship. It's the community that drives this place. You could go to a bigger game store. There's way bigger stores than us. Yeah, people drive from, all over the place, an hour away plus to come to our pre-releases. And I think that's pretty amazing. Looking back on 8 years of it, that's something that's like, wow, we did it. You survive the pandemic. You survive the snowy days. You survive, customers come and go. There's days where you're killing it, and there's days where nobody walks in. And that's just taking the good with the bad. I mean, I never thought in a million years, even the friends we made here, I mean, the guys who are helping me even with this podcast, even the guys that help me with every con that show up, everybody that helps me with everything, and just, you're grateful for it, because not everybody has that. And I think that that's kind of wild, that's like the friendships we made along the way. You know, the One Piece thing where they always say, you know, it's the adventure and it's the friends we made along the way. That's kind of that. I think it's a lot of too of you got to be willing to put in the hours. You got to be willing to bust yourself for it. You got to be willing to die in the trench for it. If you're not willing to do that, it's never going to work. Um, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, some days I get lost in it, or you're walking through the store and you notice it's packed, and it's a Tuesday, and there's 8 different things going on in here. Everybody's laughing, having fun, and it's just one of those things that you got to stop and look at and never take advantage of that, because that's just something that's incredible to me. You know, we sell everything MSRP, we sell everything no table fees, anything like that. We built a community even outside of our own community, and that's pretty great. We used to host back in the day, was a thing like the Keystone Classic. It was a big Star Wars Legion event. I would love to host one again. You know, we go to the card shows, like I said, in the Viewmont Mall. We go to different cons, the NEPA con in the wintertime we go to. I like to do something more in like this, like, you know, coming up for our own con. We'll see how that goes, though. Hey, here's to 8 more. Thank you, everybody who's been watching, taking care of this. You guys asked us to do a podcast. Here it is. You know, it's one of those things. I said it's one of those, you know, everybody's like, no, make sure you read the script and make sure you do this. I said, we're just going to do it as we've always done it, because that's who we are. I mean, that's the reason people come here. So we'll have a good one.